I'ma keep it a buck. This whole English situation is very stupid and very much a wild mess of misinformed nonsense. And the truth is of this situation, at least from what I can gather on Twitter and just all over social media, no one knows what the hell is going on. That's all I can really say. No one knows what's going on because no one is being honest. That's really what it is. Whether it's Hoyo's fault, whether it's SAG-AFTRA's fault, whether it's the English VA's fault, I don't necessarily know. Somebody is doing something, and to be keeping it very much a stack, it's now starting to take its toll, because Hoyo is just now just being like, you know what? F it, we're gonna start replacing some people, like they did with Kenichi just recently with this new patch, and then they did with Lycon and Soldier 11 and, you know, ZZZ's recent patch. It's getting crazy out here. That's really all I can say. Now I know immediately somebody's gonna be like, well, why don't you just switch to Japanese? I would love to if I was fluent in that bitch. If I was fluent in it, I wouldn't have any problems. I wouldn't worry about that hard. That being said, I'm not fluent in it. The only couple of words I am aware of is Subarashi and Kanajo. And Kanajo means girl or girlfriend, which is something I never effing had. So when it comes down to it though, I got a long way to go when it comes down to learning my Japanese. So don't expect me to turn it to JP dub whatsoever in a while. And that's not necessarily starting this whole, you know, sub versus dub debate. To be clear with you and to be honest, I don't care for that damn debate, and if it's gonna be an answer to it, I just listen to whatever I feel like at the time. That's literally how I take everything, right? So even if I started in Genshin and JP, that's probably what I've been rocking with the entire time and don't really care too much. But at the end of the damn day, that's not necessarily what we're here to talk about. We're just here to talk about this whole situation entirely, and then honestly just gonna speculate in what I would think should happen or what would be the case on all sides, because every time you look at this, every time you see people go up in arms about this situation, it gets worse to downright just what the hell is happening, right? Especially with, you know, Kenichi's new VA and how people are just bullying the shit out of him because he replaced his older one, and or at least Hoyo did replace his older one with him. And it's like, how is it this man's fault? I don't understand. And then you wonder why everybody keep clowning on the same damn Genshin community, just like, oh, it's them being, you know, weird and shitty again. That's just how it is all the damn time. It's always the same damn story. Me personally, when it comes down to this whole entire situation, no matter what Hoyoverse decides to do, I'm gonna keep playing the damn game, mainly because I want to see how this damn story ends up wrapping up. For me, that's really all that effing matters, if I'm gonna be real. But still, it'll be nice to have some voices on the side that I don't necessarily mind listening to. And what makes it worse for this whole situation is that there's probably some VAs within Genshin space on the English side that are really good people that just want to get back to their damn job. I think Zach wants to and continue to play Ether and scream Windblade for the 5,000th time. I'm pretty certain he would like to go back and do that stuff. But the strike is also holding him back because, oh, if you do this, you get blacklisted and all this weird shit, which, if I'm gonna be honest, it just sounds more like SAG-AFTRA just needs to completely get a reboot. It sounds like they need to restart everything, because it's really holding people back for whatever reason. Like, people probably want to just jump back into voice acting only for them to be halted because, oh, bum ass company or bum ass strike or whatever the hell is happening, because we really don't effing know. The only thing that we can for sure confirm is that there is something happening. There is definitely something happening with certain VAs, because, you know, I don't really know how it's all going down, but it seems like certain people are coming back in certain shapes and forms, you know, because somehow they brought Kachina's VA back, so how did that work out? We don't know. Sino came back, so how again did that work out? We don't know. And when it comes down to it, it's like they're trying to get people back, but at the same time, if they're gonna keep, it seems like what Hoyoverse is trying to do is like, all right, bring back whoever really just legitimately wants to freaking work, who doesn't really, you know, be getting hold up or anything like that, right? And if that is the case, if you want to come back and work, come through, that's perfectly fine. No one's gonna, you know, be too mad, you know, and just be whatever. Then there is people that is holding off on working because of the strike or because of XX reason and everything else. And then it's like, well, you can't really do much with this it's been some months now, and Hoyo can't keep, you know, holding on to this whole VA stuff all the time. So when it comes down to it, they're gonna have to just replace people. They're gonna have to do what they gotta do, because at the end of the day, Hoyoverse is a business. You can't run a business on feelings. That's not how that works. If you do the job, you do the job. Which, personally, I just feel like VA work is just, in general, should be just like, come through, do your voice lines, get the hell out. That's essentially, in a simpler world, that's essentially how I feel like VA work should be doing, right? You shouldn't have to have all this extra stuff. Just come through, voice your shit. We ain't gonna do anything extra with your voice. Just voice the shit that we asked you to do. Come through, get the hell out, and just move on with your life. That's essentially how I would run that shit, at least for me personally. Because at first, everybody was patient with this strike, because it's like, oh, well, yeah, we need to go ahead and just let them cook and let them wait and be patient. Now people are just getting hella fed up with this shit, because it's getting really effing annoying. Which, if it is Genshin's fault, or at least Hoyo's fault when it comes to the whole AI stuff, why the hell does Hoyoverse need to just sit here and just hand over, or not hand over, but like, why do they need to sit here and rely on AI if that's what they want to do? You are a billion-dollar company, I assume, at this point, right? You have money. You can afford voice actors if that's what you want to do. You can hire whoever the hell you want to hire. There's no reason why Hoyoverse literally can't do that. So when it comes down to it, if they're gonna go ham and just, use their money, then they can definitely do that shit, right? They can for sure do that shit. I don't see why they need to really rely on AI when it comes down to the voices at all. Just hire who wants to work and get rid of people who don't want to work. If that was me, that's how I would run the damn company. Crazy hot take, but that's just how I would run things, and a bit chaotic, but it is what it is. We can't keep holding on to people forever that say they want to work, but then they don't really do it, and it's just like, well, doesn't matter if it's a strike, doesn't matter if it's something else or not. At the end of the day, you don't want to come through, we got to let you go. That's the equivalent of, like, having somebody basically work at some type of grocery store only for them to be like, yeah, I'm super excited to work here, never show up, and then thinking that they're still going to get paid at the end of the day. Like, that's not how that works ultimately. And even if there is a solid reason as to why, again, it's a business at the end of the day. We can't just sit here and just let you not do anything forever, and that's just ultimately how it is. It would not surprise me if when Danesley's patch come out and we get his quest coming through, they replace Yuri. I wouldn't be surprised if that effing happens. I wouldn't be. Why? Because it doesn't seem like he's gonna come through at any point in time soon. At least as far as I'm aware of and seen. And hell, I think he's been extra vocal about it, so I don't expect Danesley to come through with the same voice in the upcoming patch. I think he might get replaced just as well too. And if this is the route that Hoyo wants to go down, then it's ultimately like, well, it's a business. And again, every business has to kind of see what's not working and then let shit go. Because again, really looking at this, it's only the English side. It's only United States that have an issue with voicing. Why is it not everybody else? But everybody else is pretty much fine, but why is it only this one damn country? It is always only this damn country. And it's not even just within this situation. You also got to realize too, voice acting is cutthroat, and really a fair amount of English voice actors are terrible people. Let's just keep it very much say, I am not one of those YouTubers that will sit here and constantly glaze the hell out of VAs, because there is some terrible VAs out there. There's some really good ones that I absolutely like, that has all the crazy voice lines in the world, and I absolutely enjoy them. Like Ray Chase is amazing, and Amberly Connors, she's pretty good. And you got people like, who else out there that I really like? You got people like Zach does a pretty good job with Ether too. I don't see anything wrong with him. I think Sarah does as well. Does a pretty good job as well too. I'm not gonna sit here and be on nonsense about that either. Also, not Genshin, but Jade Saxon, who voices Konako from High School DxD. I'm so glad she's not problematic. I'm so glad. But at the end of the day, you get, some good voice actors that's actually out there that legit just want to do their thing and have fun. I think Alex, who does, like, I want to say, the main character from P3 from Persona 3, and then also Luke from Street Fighter 6. He's really good. Ben Starr's really amazing too. Like, you got some really good ones that is out there that legit is just like, oh yeah, we're gonna cook with these voices and not be so toxic and head up their ass and all that type of stuff in the industry. But then you get those ones that do be in the industry that be causing hella amounts of trouble for no damn reason. And that's where you get people being like, all right, is the English VAs just trying to monopolize the English, speaking, voice acting jobs and all that type of stuff? Is it that they're trying to get more paid than they're worth? Is it something else? And that's really what a lot of this speculation is coming to, and everything like that too. And again, as people that just roam Twitter and Reddit all day, we don't really effing know what the hell is going on, right? We don't know what the hell is going on unless the contract was put in front of us in full detail and everyone's being absolutely honest about what the hell they're looking for and what they want. And then what extra is about this is that it blows when you get like really important characters voicing, getting voiced by people that are not that great, because I've heard multiple times Paimon's VA is not great. And I think one time claimed Paimon is like some weird gender thing. I don't understand why. I don't get it. It's very weird and it's annoying. But as I said before, way back in the past, 4 years ago, 5 years ago at this point maybe, about the voice of Rias, I said this about her character of just voice of Monica Rao, not Monica Rao, that's Bulma, Jane Markey voicing Rias. I was just like, the character makes the character, not the voice. Just to keep very much aside, the voice acting, yeah, sure, that's there, but at the same time, you could very much be replaced with anybody else and they can do a good Rias. I'm pretty sure there's somebody on the internet that can do a really good Rias impression and then easily win, right? That's just how it is, and that's just a fact of life, yeah. But when it comes down to it though, that's just ultimately what it is. Rias is good because Rias, the character, is what Rias should be, not because of the voice and everything like that, right? So even if it is someone like Paimon that gets replaced or something like that, let's just be honest, Paimon makes Paimon, not the voice. If we're gonna be honest, the voice helps it and it's a bonus, but it's not really the end all be all, if we're going to be honest. And that's going with any voice, no matter if it's JP, Korean, Chinese, or English, doesn't necessarily matter. That's just ultimately how it is. Because let's just be honest, even if we had a character with literally no voice at all, they still could be good characters. Like, let's say someone like Neapolitan from RWBY, for example. She doesn't necessarily have any voice lines outside of a gasp. That's literally all she has. But at the end of the day, she's still a character people will remember, whether you like her or not. You can do that. You can just have that. Granted, would I rather have a character be voiced than not be voiced? Yes, I want the character's voice. But at the same time, I'm just saying that, ultimately the character is not necessarily always connected to that voice actor. It's very much the character that you resonate with, and the character is making the character themselves. That's what makes them good. And in terms of the new VAs and maybe what the contract could be, maybe there's something in that new VA's contract that goes ahead and let them not worry about what's going on with the current strike and all that type of stuff, so they don't have to worry about anything and all that type of stuff. I guess maybe like a date sort of situation where after so long or something, they can kind of come through and not have to worry about what's going on with the AI or whatever. Because again, I don't see a real good reason as to why Hoyo themselves would sit here and just be like, oh no, we need AI voices. Why would you need it? I can't think of a solid ass reason as to why you would need it. I can think of reasons as to why you would, kind of use it for certain characters, maybe like one or two, if they're like super robotic and that's what you wanted to do, because just to keep it authentic. Did I say that right? I sounded autistic saying that, but when it comes down to it, if you want to keep authenticity, then yeah, you could probably use it for there, and then it could be just some generic ass robot voice, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, you're a big ass money making company, so I don't really see why they would need to take that into consideration for voicing things, unless the English side is literally the most expensive side of voice acting as a whole, and maybe that could be a reason, and they're asking too much for their rates. Maybe that's something, and that would not be that big of a surprise. I wouldn't be surprised by that. But still, you know, it's kind of just like, I don't know. What I genuinely think they're gonna do, again, I think they're just gonna take what they can from people that really want to work and just do what they can do, and take those voice actors, and then ultimately just basically get rid of like the other ones that just don't want to work or choose not to work. I think that's really all they can do at this point, right? And again, because I really don't see a reason as to why they can't just let if it's AI, which I don't think, again, Hoyo has a reason to, you know, be petty about it. I don't really see why they would be, especially if they're going to have like a whole VTuber group soon and they're preparing for that, or a live stream group or whatever. If they're preparing for that shit soon, I don't, again, see why they would need AI for that. And instead hiring real people to play their games or whatever. I don't see why they would need that. But again, you never really know. I'm looking through Twitter as I'm kind of just like seeing what people are saying, and I've seen like one post where somebody's talking about, like, I think there's a voice out there too, where they're talking about like the whole union and non-union is going to be protective of AI as well. But then again, it's like, is that more to the story of that? And if that is all that they really want, then it's like, then what the hell is the issue of why it's taking so damn long? So it's like it feels just like somebody is lying out of all this. Somebody is lying, or they're trying to do something extra that's not giving everybody what they want, or something of the sort. I don't know what it is. I couldn't begin to tell you what it is, right? All I can really say is, really, for Hoyoverse, is to get the main VAs that are really important. You know, get the ones that have like the characters that are really important to the story and do, and then worry about everything else later. Because at this point, I don't know what the hell to tell you. I really couldn't tell you anything, right? But for sure, this shit is just getting tiring, and most people are just getting tired of just yapping about the subject or listening to the subject at all. And I'm for sure tired of just the entirety of it, really, because it's just like, somebody get some shit going, because gosh damn. And just looking up like Genshin, or at least Hoyoverse, when it comes to the AI voices, the only time, as far as I'm aware of, I've seen where they have used an AI voice before is with some game that they have TOT, I guess, with a Chinese VA or something like that. And from what I can tell, it seems like that VA gave permission to do so, right? So it could be that, or it could be just the fact that the contracts in different countries could be very much different than ours, right? So it could also be that. If I'm gonna be honest, again, I don't really see why Hoyo would have to, you know, why they would very much just focus super hard as hell on doing AI voices when they have, again, the money to spend. It doesn't make a lot of sense, because you're spending money on both of the damn things. If you're gonna be honest, you might as well get a more natural sounding voice than a voice that doesn't sound so natural, you know? So ultimately, I feel like I don't know why, I'm just gonna completely be real, I don't feel like this is Hoyoverse's whole problem. I don't think this is just a Hoyoverse thing. Hell, if I want to be really thinking about it, and just to go back to that whole authenticity talk about the whole AI voices and what they want to use for AI characters, if I'm gonna be honest, they could have done it with Fairy from ZZZ, but they don't. And I think Fairy is actually voiced by a regular person. So again, it just doesn't feel like Hoyoverse is just a Hoyoverse thing. It doesn't feel like Hoyoverse is just sitting here just like, oh yeah, we're gonna use your voices and then we're gonna make them do all types of weird shit. It doesn't feel like Hoyoverse is at complete fault at this. It doesn't feel like it. If it is, I'll be surprised. But it feels more just on the English side, and something of the English side. I can't tell you if it's a person, I can't tell you if it's just a SAG-AFTRA group, or whatever. Something just doesn't feel right about the English side, because every other country is fine, but why this specific one? You know? So it could very much be, you know, something else, you know? And then, unfortunately, it's just preventing other voice actors that just want to get the hell back to their jobs, and they just can't do it because of the blacklisting and bullshit and the strike and all that stuff. So it very much could be a fair amount of things. I just don't know what the hell it is. I don't know, man. This whole situation is weird. And again, I'm just scrolling through Twitter, kind of just seeing And then I was looking through Chibi's whole ass Twitter post about it, and he was just like, oh yeah, Sucro's VA is not that great either. So it's just like, so again, it could very much be a toxic shit thing that could be happening on just the entirety of the side, and then the real deal VAs want to just get back into, again, their jobs and whatever. People like Zach maybe, and whatever, just want to get back to voicing their characters, and they can't because everybody else is being an asshole and they can't really do shit about it. So it could very much be that situation, you know, because let's just keep it very much say, English voice acting companies that, you know, use voice actors and stuff like that, that doesn't surprise me that they would, you know, don't want to sign an AI agreement, because, you know, most Western companies are scummy as shit. But I don't really see a huge reason as to why Hoyo or any of the other companies in the Eastern side, for the most part, in cases like this, would need to use an AI voice. I don't really see why they would need to. If anything, it's more the Western side, because hell, even in Fast and Furious, if you've seen that movie, they kind of did the same thing with like Paul Walker's whole actor or acting-ish kinda in like I think in like one of the more recent movies, and they used like, I think his other family member or whatever that looked kind of like him or something like that, and they used AI to kind of fix things up, I suppose. So it's like, you know, it's more the Western side that has a problem than I would say is probably the Eastern side, because the Eastern side, they're more, I would say they're probably a bit more honest than, you know, what we get in the West. So it could be that too. It's just, for me personally, it just all this kind of feeling like maybe it's just the West and the SAG-AFTRA itself, or it could just be straight up just somebody on the that really runs the show within that group. I don't really know. It just feels more of that, just from personal sights of experience of what we've seen in the English voice acting side of anime, and how incredibly toxic that place can be, and seeing this, it kind of just feels the same way. Plus the last, I think, video game strike as well that kind of existed I think like a year or two ago, how that kind of was, and the nonsense that came from that too. It just doesn't feel clean cut. Like, I'm just gonna be real, it doesn't feel like it's a fully clean cut. Something weird is going on, and that's really all I can guess at, right? So anyway, hopefully still you did enjoy. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this, because I'm just speculating at this point. I couldn't tell you what is true, what isn't true, because at the end of the day, it just feels like a mixed bag of everything, where it could, yes, be Hoyo's fault, but I don't feel like it is. It feels like there's something more to the Western side than it is on Hoyo, if I'm gonna just ultimately just lay down what I think it is. And if Hoyo decides to replace, you know, a lot of people, I mean, ultimately that's what they're gonna have to end up doing, because again, they are a business. You can't just F around with people like that and then just think, oh, nothing's gonna happen, because yeah, people are gonna get replaced, and then ultimately when those people do get replaced, they might have to suffer for it, because it's just like, well, if you just took the position, you wouldn't be in a weird ass place. And plus, getting auditions for like voices and stuff like that, from what I've heard, is like hella hard. So why would you jeopardize your own position to just get something else going for everybody else too? I ain't saying be like, oh, an asshole or anything, but it's like, if I am in a position where I have a voice line in a game or whatever, and they want me to do things, and everybody else is kind of looking at you like, you know, this is some weird ass Japanese black company just staring at you like, oh, he's trying to make an exit while everybody else is still working, that bitch, and all that stuff. Like, I'm taking what I need to take, and then just, you know, kind of worry about everything else later. It just is what it is. Oh no, I upset some people that I quote unquote called friends or whatever, that quote unquote are my friends, even though they are really just assholes in disguise. I really don't care. I need bread. Give me that shit. So that's how it is, at least in my personal mind. I gotta do what's best for me. But again, that's all I gotta say for this one. Again, hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification me out. Also follow on socials, and if you're on this channel, Kofi Cash Shop is available. Well, why is my speaking so weird? I've been speaking weird. I don't know. My brain has been in a weird place for the last couple of days. But anyway, hopefully you still enjoyed. And until then, it's Boy J, signing off. How about say?